Hello, people at home. How was everyone's weekend? Did you do anything exciting? Trying to organize the screen here so I can see things properly. We want to have our notes open. We're going to be doing a couple more slides about blood types and also a little refresher from all the way back in those biology days. Saw some eyes go genotypes and those Punnett squares. This is important because there are blood types, even from parent to offspring, that can be incompatible. Okay, so go ahead and be getting your notes open. Does anyone have anything to share about their weekend? Did you see my message about our lizard? He started shedding and he's got like milk mustache and like he looks like old and angry man with these big old white eyebrows, but he's just about to shed. I don't know if I brought that in. I brought him some lettuce. He likes to eat lettuce. I knew there was a reason I grabbed that Target bag on the way out the door. This is like the silliest thing. Is the blood vessels practical going to be in class or after school? After school. That is after school. 2:45 on Zoom. I'll fire that up and then I'll be working with another student over on the side. Okay. Okie dokie. So we finished in our notes talking about the different blood disorders, right? And the different white blood cells. So now we start up on blood types. What are the blood types that you know? A, B, O, A, B. What is missing from this? Yeah, the positives and negatives, right? So originally we figured out that there were 4 blood types. There's A, B, AB, and O. And then there were still issues when we were helping people with donating blood. It's like, well, maybe this person just isn't compatible. They can't receive blood from other people. But it turned out that there is another part on our blood cells that makes things work together or not. And that's called the Rh factor. That's the positive or negative. So we technically have 8 blood types, right? A positive, A negative, B positive, B negative, AB positive, AB negative, O positive, and O negative. And it's called the Rh factor. Oh, I thought he was like chortling. Funny. Guinea pigs making funny noises. Sorry. Guinea pig. What was I saying before guinea pig? It's an ADD day, guys. Sorry. Thank you. Not being able to donate, having those different blood types. Oh, the RH. RH. The name RH. So we just have the ABO gene, and then we have the RH gene. It's named RH because we discovered this on rhesus monkeys. That's RHESUS, rhesus monkeys. They are how we discovered that there is this extra protein on our blood cells. Rhesus. Not Reese's like the food, it's spelled differently. Then we found out that there's something else going on in our blood and not just AB, AB, or O. A, B, A, B, or O. Okay, for those who come in, tomorrow we will do the blood typing lab. For those of you who come in on Thursday, Friday, the day after that, you will do the blood typing lab. But for right now, we got to figure out what is going on with these blood types. So, starting on this first page, whoops, except I just scrolled away from it. Okay, the major types. Have you guys ever seen A Bug's Life? Okay, Flick is the name of the ant, and I just pulled that off the top of my head. I can't remember if he's banished or it's like his idea to go get other bugs to help out, but he leaves, right? And he goes to like a downtown area where there's all different types of bugs and not just all the ants. And he goes into the restaurant and he goes up to the bartender and he's like gonna order food or whatever. And there is a mosquito that comes up next to him. And the mosquito starts yelling in a slurred voice, "Hey, bartender, Bloody Mary, O positive." You have been hearing science about blood types since you were however old when you saw that movie. Okay. The assumption is that the mosquito is drunk or whatever. That's like the extra adult humor they put in those movies so that your parents will take you instead of like saying like, heck no, I'm not dealing with this for 2 hours. Just little quips like that. So that is a blood type, right? They bring him a little drop of blood and he sucks it up in his little mosquito-y way, and then I don't remember if he falls over or whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, so O positive, he ordered a particular type of blood there. Okay, so what is it that makes that O positive? What is it that makes a blood cell O negative or A positive or any of the other 5 that I didn't mention? There are proteins on blood cells, not just your blood cells, but anyone's blood cells. And those proteins work like barcodes, and your white blood cells go around identifying like if a cell is part of your body, if it's supposed to be there, and it's like, okay, the barcode, yep, you belong. Scans the barcode, yep, you belong. Scans the barcode, yes, you belong. Scans the barcode, yes, you belong. And so if you have type A blood, all of the barcodes for A work in your body, whether you made those blood cells, whether you got a blood transfusion and you have someone else's type A blood cells. Same thing with negative or positive, okay? There's a separate protein for those. There's a separate protein for B. And then, so if you have type A, I have type A positive. I found this out because I had a kid. If you've had surgery, there is information somewhere of what your blood type is. Okay, but if I've got A positive blood, if they give me the wrong transfusion, if they give me type B blood, as my white blood cells go around scanning barcodes, it's like, right? It's like when you're at the grocery store and they try to swipe it through the barcode scanner and it's not in there, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And then your body's security team goes and attacks it, and it causes everything to clump up. We're going to see more of that in a minute. Versus type O does not have these proteins. O in science means empty. It doesn't have it. And so we have A, we have B, and we have O. And we have A, B. We'll talk about that in a second. O means that there are none of these proteins. These proteins are called antigens. They are recognizable parts for your body. Is it supposed to be there or is it not? And then we have if things are, do you guys remember like dominant and recessive and codominant and those terms in biology? Those are coming back up again today. Okay, and you've done probability where you have like the 4 squares to see like how likely is it that the kids look this way or a different way. Well, we're also going to be doing probability with 2 genes, and so that is called a dihybrid cross, and instead of 4 boxes, there will be 16. All right, so the 2 most important blood type groups are the ABO group and the RH group. So do you have A, B, O, or AB blood? And then is it positive or negative? Those are the 2 different groups. For ABO, we're going to start there, and I've got a bunch of little printouts. Because if you remember, dominant and recessive. Dominant letters are capitalized, recessive letters are lowercase. But sometimes we have things that they are both dominant, so they are both capitalized. This is why we have AB blood. One doesn't mask the other. They are both present. Versus, and I have these on separate pieces of paper because sometimes people are just confused, like, why can't we just say A and B and O? This is the proper thing. It is on the I gene. We could use any symbol we wanted to, but because scientists use I, we are going to do it too. We are going to be good scientists. Okay. But A and B are codominant. That's why there's an AB blood type. If someone has this genotype, what is their blood type? Type A. If a person has this, what is their blood type? B. If a person has this, what is their blood type? O. O is recessive. Okay. If they have this, what is their blood type? It is A again. The dominant masks the recessive. Okay, so they will have the A antigens. This person, if they have one of these, they will have the B antigens. They have this, they have both the A and B antigens. If they have this, they don't have any antigens. Okay? All right, let me reset my papers. Then we'll get to positive and negative. Okay, so again, antigens are little proteins that are present on your cells. There's a shape for A, there's a shape for B. On AB, they have both of those shaped proteins, and then on O, they don't have any of them. This is part of why, when I was talking about the scanning on the barcodes, this is why type O is considered the universal donor. Okay, because they don't have any barcode when your white blood cells go through and are scanning to see if things belong there. If they get to one that doesn't have anything to scan, it's as if it's invisible. It doesn't actually exist. It's just like, oh, I need to look and find one that does have the barcode. Instead of like raising alert that, hey, nothing has a barcode. It just ignores it. So if we were to say, if we were talking about the ABO group and the RH group, what is the universal donor? Who can give blood to anyone? Which type of cell isn't going to have any antigens at all?
O negative.
O negative. Because for the RH factor, you get a negative from mom, you get a negative from dad, you got negative blood type. If one of your parents gives you a positive, you have positive blood type. So this, so just like how we used big A and little a and all that stuff, we're just using symbols instead of letters. Positives are dominant to negative. Okay, we're going to see more of that. So looking at incompatibility, we already said type O can give to anyone. Okay, and technically it's type O negative when we get the negative and positive going in there. But if we are only focused right now in this diagram, we're only focused on A, B, and O. Type A, it is going to have what are called antibodies for type B. It says type B is not supposed to be there, right? Antibodies are your defense system. And they are your defense system by recognizing different antigens, the proteins that are on the cells. So if you have type A antigens, then you have type B antibodies. If you have type B antigens, then you have type A antibodies. It fights against A. If you have AB, you don't have any antibodies. You think that A and B are super cool and any of them can be here. And if you have type O, you have both B and A antigens. You say that nobody else is cool. This is like our elite group, right? Not like in a serious term, but like in comparison. Little cliques that we can be part of. AB is the diverse group. They like everybody, right? Everyone else has issues with someone. With that incompatibility, if we mix the wrong blood types, there will be severe amounts of clumping wherever that blood goes. Is that a good thing in your blood vessels? No, we do not want any sort of clumping. That clumping is called agglutination, meaning that there's just severe clumps. It's not the same as forming a blood clot, even though it appears that way. It's more than that because this isn't like releasing fibers and a net to collect it and prevent the stoppage of bleeding, right? It's not to do that. It is just everything clumps up. A person can die from this. Back in the days of like Greek philosophers and stuff, they used to, if people were ill or if they had gone crazy, let's focus on the people that have gone crazy. They assume that there's like some sort of demons in them, and so if we just like cut their arm, I'm using the arm back here because that's where we put IVs. I'm not exactly sure where they would cut them to do this, and they would do what's called bloodletting to release some of the blood, and so that would release the demons from their bodies, right? And so those people, they like calm down, and knowing what we know now, that kind of makes sense, right? Because when you have a massive amount of blood loss, you get lightheaded because oxygen is not circulating around your body. Has probably nothing to do with demons. I don't know about what people's spiritual beliefs are. And then when people were sick, they were like, well, maybe they just need new blood, right? We have known for a very long time that there is blood, right? Because people get cut or bruised or war and stuff and people bleed. We have known this for thousands of years. And we've also known that maybe there is a connection to having good blood to make you healthy. And so it's like if someone is really ill, they would try to take the blood from a parent or a sibling and put it into that other person, right? So one person sits up here, the person who's sick sits down low so that by gravity, blood will flow into them. And people were dying from this. And again, knowing what we know now, it kind of makes sense. Just because, and we'll see more of this when we start doing the probability squares. Just because you are related to someone doesn't mean that you have compatible blood. And on the flip side of that, just because you don't have compatible blood doesn't mean that you're not related. Okay, we're going to see how different blood types will make different combinations from parents to offspring. So like for me, I don't actually know what my dad's blood type is, but my mom is type O. And I am type A. And so she could donate blood to me. We're both positive. She could donate blood to me, but I cannot donate blood to her, right? So it becomes this complicated web of who is okay with who and what happens if incompatible blood types go together. And if you can see it on people at home over here, right? When our body recognizes that we have cells that aren't supposed to be here, it causes huge amounts of clumping. It looks like scabs on the inside of your blood vessels. It prevents anything from moving forward. And it just keeps happening because now our body's on high alert and it's like, hey, we got to grab everybody. It starts busting up blood vessels. They are, or not even blood vessels, your blood cells, your red blood cells just starts busting them into pieces so that they can't be like a bacteria that is supposed to not be there. Okay, so looking at incompatibility. What happens when incompatible blood meets? Agglutination, clumping, huge amounts of clumping. Okay, so then we get to the RH group, the positive and negative. Again, we discovered this on the rhesus monkey, and that's why it is the RH, because rhesus is spelled R-H-E-S-U-S. Okay, and so this gives us our positive and negative blood types. So, does anyone know their blood type? What is it? A positive. Me too. It's very common. Look, more than a third of the population, and this is in the United States, more than a third of the population, almost 40%, is A positive. Yeah. Really? Okay, so new information. It's most common for people in Indiana specifically as well. And that should make sense. Yeah. Right? That's exactly the response was I wanted to be a different blood type. I wanted to have something that was different that made me stand out. And that is exactly what I thought when I heard what my blood type was. I was like, oh, I thought I had something a little more rare than that. Maybe I would have like a type O blood type. But you know what? Oh, I pointed to the wrong thing, guys. Notice how these are about the same. A positive and O positive. are the two most common blood types in the United States. This might not be as common in other areas. One of the videos I was watching, and so this was like new information to me, and I haven't like done any more research on it, was that people of Asian descent are more likely to have type B blood. So just an interesting thing there. To be able to like look at different races or ethnicities to say what is more common amongst them. This is just people in the United States in general, okay? So O positive and A positive are the two most common blood types. O negative, all the rest of these are less than 10% for commonalities. O negative though, remember that's the universal donor. And so if you've got O negative blood, please go donate, right? They need your blood. But it's not very common, which means that people with O negative blood don't have a lot of options when it comes to blood transfusions because they can't receive any other blood type. O negative can only receive O negative. O positive can receive O positive and O negative, right? It's all about those barcodes and antigens and antibodies. Does the barcode analogy help? Okay. And then why is this important when it comes to positive and negative blood types? Okay, so maybe you'll just never need a blood transfusion and so it won't matter. Maybe you'll never donate blood and it won't matter. But it does matter if you are a female with negative blood type and your partner has positive blood type, and when you go to have a child, technically when you go to have more than one child, okay, there is a disorder isn't the right word. There's a situation, and I don't like the word situation. I can't think of the word I want here. An occurrence, maybe. I mean, it's the same as situation. You get what I'm saying. That causes a woman with negative blood type, if she ends up having a baby with positive blood type, any more babies that she has that have positive blood type, her body will try to kill it. Let's talk about that. Let's digest that a little bit, okay? Here we have two people who may or may not love each other very much. They're going to have a child together, okay? Woman has negative blood type, man has positive blood type. When they go to have a baby, she ends up having a baby that has a positive blood type. And as she goes about growing the child within her, some of that blood gets moved back and forth between the female and the fetus, right? The growing baby. And so as that occurs, her body starts building antibodies against the positive blood type. And so after that point, if she goes to have any more children, if they have a positive blood type, her body will attack and kill the baby. Now, the nice thing is that we have known about this for a long time. There's actually a medication that women, if they have negative blood type at all, they give them this medication when they are pregnant. And it reduces how many antibodies you are making while pregnant so that your body won't kill the baby and you can still have the baby. This is one of those reasons that it's really important to get medical assistance when pregnant, because everyone there, I shouldn't say everyone, there's always like groups of people who are like, no, you know, having babies is a natural process. And so I can just eat healthy foods that are natural and I can do this and have a natural pregnancy. Well, this occurrence is also natural, right? A woman with negative blood type having a child with positive blood type, her body killing the baby is also natural. So do you want that to happen or not? Like, things to consider. And again, this is only a situation if the female has negative blood type. The question came up earlier. What if it's reversed? What if the male has negative blood type and the female has positive blood type? All that matters is what does the person who is carrying the baby in their body, what is their blood type? So if the female is positive, none of this matters. It doesn't matter if the baby has negative or positive blood type. It's not, her body is not going to attack it. Okay. So with that, let's just review some compatibility here. If I have O negative blood type, what type of blood can I receive? Be the recipient of. What blood type can they receive? O negative. Can they receive anything else? No, that's it. What about for AB positive blood? What type can they receive? They are AB positive. This is their genotype. They can get A positive, they can get B positive, O positive, O negative. Oh, you know that you have O positive blood? Nice. We've said A positive, B positive, O positive, O negative, because anyone can receive O negative. What else can they receive?
B neg and A neg.
B negative, A negative. Both of those were said. We're still missing two blood types. AB positive and AB negative. This is what we call the universal recipient. This person can receive any blood type. Even if this was their genotype, this would still give them positive blood, right? They can receive any blood type. AB positive is the universal recipient if we are including RH factor into what we're talking about. Sometimes you'll encounter that they are, whoever is asking the question is not referring to positive and negative. We're going to do a couple example problems where that will not be relevant, and then we will do an example where it is. Yes? How is it determined, if they can receive any blood type, how is it determined which blood type they receive? If they've got AB blood, whatever bag they see first. If they need a blood transfusion, we can grab any of them. Yeah, well, and so when in doubt, right, if somebody needs a blood transfusion, like in the ER, if they come in very quickly and it's like, this person has lost a lot of blood, we don't necessarily have enough time to figure out what their blood type is. So what are we going to give them? O negative, so that no matter what, we're safe. O negative is always safe to give anyone, right? Because it takes a little bit of time, not like a huge amount, like 5 minutes, but that could be the difference between a person living and dying, right? Of determining what their blood type is. O negative is always safe to give to somebody. Okay, and then if I have AB negative blood, who can take my blood? Who can I donate to? AB positive.
B negative.
B negative, not A, because that would not go with this third one. Then B positive, B negative. I'm going to write these in on my screen just to see what we've already said. B positive, B negative. Who can receive my blood?
Is it like AB?
There you go. AB positive and AB negative. So 4 people can benefit, 4 different types of people, I should say, can benefit from this blood type. Okay, I think that should get us to the end of that. Yes. Cool. Ooh, heart structures are next. Waiting for the hearts to arrive. I'm hoping they arrive by the end of this week because we're definitely supposed to dissect next week. If not, then we will remove that day from this unit and put it in later. I don't want us to miss out on any other dissections for this semester. Because obviously we didn't get to do any last semester. Where's my cursor? There it is. Okay, so let me get rid of this screen. We're going to do a couple example problems together. And if you want to just have either a blank space to write or a blank piece of paper to write on, whichever way you want to go about that, I have now made it so that people at home can see me nice and large on their screen. I have just made up these problems, so it's not like you're gonna find them anywhere. Okay, we're just gonna do a couple example problems together. Ugh, I hate when this happens. This popped up here. I don't need that anymore though, so it's okay. I hate my screens. They just keep popping up everywhere. Don't actually hate them. There it is. Okay. Now we can do that. All right, people at home, if you're saying stuff, please unmute and say it, because right now my documents are in the way. Okay, just unmute and get my attention. Okay, so our first example, we are only going to pay attention to the ABO groups. Same thing in the second example, and then the third one we will do the RH factor as an important part as well. Okay, so in the first one, we have a man. Symbol for man is this. He has type O blood. People at home, can you see this okay? Okay. Let me know if I need to write bigger. And then the female, these are people who are going to breed together. She has type AB blood. Got my nice handy dandy pieces of paper here. What is the man's genotype? What are his letters? Remember that the possible alleles we are looking at are IA, IB, and little I. If he's type O, what is his genotype? He's little I, little I. What is the female who is type AB? IA, IB. So when we make a Punnett square for these people, we said that the man is little I. And so we're going to put his alleles over here. Isn't this fun? And I always grew up with the phrase, female is always on top, in order to remember this for Punnett squares. Okay, and so let me grab the tape for these. So the female is here and here. So when we start filling in the Punnett square, the reason I printed these off is to remind people that this is one unit. IA is one allele. IB is one allele. Little I is one allele. Because sometimes I think that people start reading these as two things together. So then it's just I and A. But they're not. They are one unit. That's why I've printed them. Okay? For those who are like, this seems like overkill, Mrs. Willis. Yes, maybe it is. But also, maybe it's been a long time since we've seen this. Okay? So, in the first box, how do we do this? We put them together. We always put the capital letters first. So we go IA and little I. What's going to go below it? The same thing. IA and little I. You guys, I'm probably going to jinx it by saying this, but my daughter has slept 3 nights in a row. It has been amazing. Okay, how about in this one here? IB little I. And the same thing below it. I regret grabbing both of those at the same time. This does not mean that one child will have one blood type versus another child has another blood type. Remember that every Punnett square you ever make is saying what the probability of the child they are having, what the probability is that they will get a specific gene combination. Okay? So, of these people, the man had type O blood, the female had type AB blood. Their children can either have type A blood or type B blood. A person with AB blood will never have children with type O blood. A person with type O blood will never have children with type AB blood. Does it make sense? They don't have the right allele combinations, right? If these are this way, we can't provide an A or a B. In the opposite fashion, if we have IA and IB, we cannot provide a little I. So these people can have type A or type B blood. This is only looking at the ABO factor. Okay, the ABO antigen. We're going to do a new problem. The man has type B blood and the woman has type O. Oh, I about broke that. You know what? That would actually be a better place for me to have these papers in general. Way easier to grab from the side. Not sticking myself in front of the camera so much. Set up the new problem. Said the man has type B blood and the woman has type O. We definitely know the woman's genotype is what? Little I. But the man could be, we know that he has at least IB, right? Because he has type B blood. But then, is the next one also IB or is it little I? In this made-up problem, we are given the information that his mom has type O blood. So what does his second allele have to be? A little I. And so we start filling this in, right? Female on top, little I, over here, IB, and little I. And we can start filling her in. Try to make these a little smaller and half the size of the sheet of paper. Because when we do the next problem, I'm not going to have enough space. In the first class, I forgot to have one of the things back from the printer, so we didn't get to do it. We got little eyes here. Oh, there's no tape on that. Again, using the pieces of paper to make sure that people are recognizing that IB or IA are a unit together. They are not separate. So what blood types can their children have? What does this combination make? What blood type is this? Type B. What combination does this make? Type O, type B, and type O. So their children can have either type B or type O blood. What if he had been the phrase homozygous dominant for type B? If this had been IB instead, all of their kids would have type B blood because they would get at least one IB allele. Okay? And then for the hard problem, and it's going to take up a lot more space. Now we're going to look at positive and negative blood. This is what we call a dihybrid cross. This here was a monohybrid cross. We looked at one trait, the genes for one trait. But now we're going to look at the ABO antigen and the positive or negative antigen at the same time. When we do dihybrid crosses, instead of having 4 boxes and only 4 combinations, there's actually 16 combinations that can be made. So for our last problem, the man is going to have type O negative blood. Oops. The female is going to have AB positive. We are also given the information that one of her parents has negative blood type. Okay, so for the man, what is his genotype? We put the ABO genes first, and then we'll use positive and negative. So what's his genotype? What to make O, what is his genotype? Little I, little I. These are just cursive I's, by the way, individually written. I like to make my letters look a lot different from each other. And then for him having negative blood types, whether we use symbols, letters, shapes, we could use anything. In this one, we use negatives. So he is little I, minus, minus. That is his genotype. For the female, what are the alleles for making her AB? Yep, IA, IB. Some of you might say, why don't we do IB, IA? Why isn't it BA blood? We just put it alphabetically. Okay, and then we had the information that one of her parents has negative blood type. And so, what is that going to make her second set of alleles? Is she going to be positive minus or positive positive? Yes. Plus minus. So then, to make these combinations for the man, it could be that in his sperm cells, this little I and this minus sign went together. Or it could have been that these two went together. Or it could have been that this little I went with this minus sign, or this little I went with this minus sign. For the female, which is the more important of these due to the combination, it could have been male versus female here. The IA could have gone with the plus in her egg cell, or it could have gone with the minus. Or the IB could go with the plus, or the IB could go with the minus. We don't know which one her children got, and so that's why we're setting up the probability. So let's make this nice and big. We need 16 boxes. I don't even know that this is all going to fit on here. Like I said in the earlier class, I didn't have the printed out stuff. We're probably just going to have to write this by hand. Okay, my papers will not fit. All right, so female on top. Is it that IA is with the positive or IA is with the negative? Or that IB is with the positive or that IB is with the negative? And then what did we say it is for the man? Is that this little I is with this negative, or that little I was with the other negative, which is still a little I with negative, or this little I is with this negative, or this little I is with the other negative. But what do we notice about all of this? These are all the same. And so as we fill this in, let's do this one first. We have IA, little I, and then plus minus. Below it would be the same thing. Below it would be the same thing. Below it would be the same thing because the man is O negative. We could fill all those in. Or we can be lazy. If they happen to be the same, I'm just trying to speed up time because we're running out. IA in this next one, little I, negative, negative. Same below it. Same below it. Same below it. Because these alleles aren't any different than the ones above. The next one, what is it going to be? IB, little I, and then what? Positive, negative, or IB, little I, negative, negative. And again, same and the same. You will not always get these nice little lines to just drag down. If both parents were AB positive, like the female, you would need to fill in all of these. It would change our probability. But we have a fourth of them look this way, a fourth of them look this way, a fourth of them look this way, and a fourth of them look this way due to the parent combination. So, what blood type does this one make? In the first square, A positive, type A positive. What does the next one make? A negative. How about the next one? B positive, yes. And then what's the last one? B negative, but I'd prefer you be positive. Thank you very little. Okay. So they could have a child with any of these blood types, not O, because a parent with type AB blood cannot have a child with type O blood, but they can have any of the A combinations and any of the B combinations. Any questions about this? In regards to being able to determine a person's blood type, the test is actually very simple. They take a drop of your blood, technically 3 drops of your blood, and, or is it 4? 3 or 4 drops of your blood. And they drop it onto this special paper that has different solutions on it. These solutions have the antibodies for the different A, B, O, and RH groups. So the first one is the anti-A serum. This has antibodies for the A antigen. So if this meets blood that has the A antigen in it, it is going to clump up. The next one is the anti-B serum. If it is met with a blood cell that has the B antigens, it is going to clump up. And then the last one, the anti-D serum, is for your RH factor. If this meets a blood cell that has the positive antigen on it, it is going to clump up. If it doesn't have these, it does not clump. And then the combination of clumping or not clumping tells us what the blood type is. Okay. The other little thing that is on Canvas that you guys can do, there's nothing to turn in. It's 7 minutes of your life that might interest you. Otherwise, you'll see it in the parts of it in the lab tomorrow. It is the blood transfusion game. Unfortunately, with the loss of Flash Player, it's no longer a game, and it is videos that have been recorded. The first video is the informational one showing you how to play the game back when it was a game. And the second one is someone actually going through and playing through the game. You could use that to test yourself, which blood types are compatible, right? You could pause it. There's like writing at the top. You can pause it and say, okay, you should grab this one, and this one. Push play, and then are those the things that they grab and transfuse with, okay? You can use that as an optional thing if you want to practice. And then that's all I've got for you. People at home, have a fabulous day. People in here, we've got a few minutes left. See how long until these people sign out. We might end up being here the whole time. I just don't feel like it.